Xenoblade Chronicles X hype just sort of came and went. I don't know, that's just something I'm noticing with the fan base, and I've just been noticing a lot less people talking about this game, and on top of that, I've just been seeing a lot more negativity surrounding it. So my question that I want to pose in this video is, just what happened to the hype surrounding this game? Everything feels so different from earlier in this year to what it is now, and I just want to make this video to casually talk about all that. But before we get started, I just wanted to remind you guys, if you enjoy videos like this, casual discussions about Xenoblade Chronicles, JRPGs, Nintendo, give this video a like and subscribe for more content like this. I'm mostly seeing a lot of negativity on like social media and anything like too bad. And of course, fan opinion is always valid, but lately I've been seeing some people who are saying things like, oh, I almost wish that Xenoblade X just kind of never came over to the Switch. Or people were just so soured on the epilogue content that the whole experience of Xenoblade Chronicles X, whether the Wii U or the Switch version, is just absolutely like soured for them. They just can't like retain any like positivity from this experience at all. And all this is just kind of like melded together to make discussion of this game very strange and not as fun and not as exciting. And this goes beyond story additions and story changes, but I feel like a lot of people are complaining over things like changes in the visuals, changes in the gameplay, changes in the quality of life that make this game feel different than it did on the Wii U. And of course, whenever a game gets remastered or remade, not everyone is going to like a lot of the changes. But having played the original and having played Definitive Edition fixed so much and just went so above and beyond with the new content as well. I just see a lot of discourse and it just kind of makes me a little sad. I had really high hopes for Xenoblade XDE. And I've wished for this game's existence for so long. Ever since I started my playthrough of the Wii U version in 2022, I was really hoping for this game to come over to the Switch, and I was so happy when we got that announcement in October. If you guys remember my reaction when I saw this announcement while I was at work, and I just couldn't wait to get back home and make a video on it. Everything we wanted was coming true, like our biggest wishes of Xenoblade X coming to the Switch were coming true. So many more people could enjoy it. Like, that was the main thing of bringing this game over. The Wii U had like hardly any people playing on it, and hardly anyone played Xenoblade X on the Wii U. And now the Switch has like 150 million units sold, so a lot more people can have the opportunity to get their hands on this game. That was such a exciting thing, in my opinion, and it would also hopefully get that Nintendo Switch effect, as many people say. For many franchises coming over to the Nintendo Switch, they just get a surge of popularity. Even Xenoblade Chronicles got that. You see Xenoblade 2, Xenoblade 1, Xenoblade 3, they sold very well for niche JRPGs exclusive to one system, and I was hoping for the same with Xenoblade X because it's a lot more approachable in some ways, a little more realistic graphics, a lot more realistic setting. You got the mechs, you got the firearms, you got all that cool stuff that appeals to a different kind of audience. But yeah, like I said, unfortunately what I see now, instead of people enjoying the game, reflecting on the game, discussing what will come in the future because of what we have seen and experienced in Xenoblade X, I still see people complaining about minor changes, visual changes, quality of life changes, people upset about the story, people upset about the epilogue, and not only with relation to the new stuff in Definitive Edition, but I feel like the narrative of negativity of Xenoblade Chronicles X has not gone away. I'll get into that a little later, but in terms of this game's success, when it comes to sales and commercial factor and all that, it was also hyped up and marketed at a very difficult time for that game and a very chaotic time for Nintendo. If you guys remember, despite some really good trailers, Xenoblade X DE was still really drowned out by the Nintendo Switch 2 hype, the rumors, the leaks, and then of course the eventual reveal, announcement, and then of course the Switch 2 Direct and all the stuff leading up to that. So Xenoblade X was just kind of an afterthought for many Nintendo fans and just people in gaming in general. Understandable, it's a niche JRPG remaster, and then of course you got a new console that's going to define the generation of gaming for like the next, I don't know, like decade. So obvious, like, of course the hype will be drowned out. But I was also just a little bummed out to see that the game didn't even get mentioned in the last few Nintendo investor briefings. So I'm kind of worried. Did the game not sell well? Did the game not even hit 1 million copies sold? And with all the hype surrounding the game pre-launch, I hope the interest and the intent for many to play this game just has not completely flatlined. But back to the whole like thing I was talking about when it comes to negativity surrounding this game. To me, I think the saddest thing of all is fans of Xenoblade X having to constantly defend its relevance and defend the game for being what it is. Like, I was talking about like the changes that Definitive Edition had to offer. That's one thing. But I was kind of hoping that 10 years later, with the release of Definitive Edition, I just kind of had this like weird wish in my mind that, oh, once it comes to the Switch, once all the people who have played the numbered games, once they get to experience X, they'll just get it. They'll understand. They'll understand why X fans felt so like ostracized and so like distanced from all the other Xenoblade fans and all the other kind of Xenoblade discussion going on. But no, 10 years later, I feel like the game still has to be defended in the ways that it was defended before. I know people who have played this game back in 2015 who have been defending the game for like the past decade. For me, it's only been 3 years because I started the game like almost like literally exactly 3 years back, like summer of 2022. And then I beat it last year, but I was really hoping that a lot of the changes and the improvements of the gameplay of DE and even just having a complete story in general would quell a lot of that tension and quell a lot of that kind of negativity. But like I said, a lot of the same discussions keep coming up. The story is lackluster, the characters are boring, the narrative is boring, the story focus isn't as strong as the numbered games, the character development isn't as strong as the numbered games, the themes aren't as powerful, it isn't as emotional, and that's just story-related things that I can think of that many people have been talking about. Then people just complain about the open world, the requirements to complete the story, the quote-unquote boring normal missions and sometimes boring affinity missions, the fact that affinity missions may not be as good as hero quests were in 3, the learning curve for the combat, etc, etc, etc. I've heard it all before and I'm hearing it again now, and it is what it is. People will have their opinions and that's totally fine, but I just was hoping that Definitive Edition being introduced to a larger, more open-minded group of people would kind of quell a lot of these tensions and ease a lot of this negativity, and people would just kind of understand it a bit more. But this also kind of worries me, and again, not because of a difference of opinion or anything, everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but I'm just worried that what if Monolith Soft wants to try something new in the future with Xenoblade 4, or maybe they don't even want to make another Xenoblade game. What if they want to try something entirely new, like a new IP or something? And they want to try something new outside of the niche that they've cultivated with the numbered Xenoblade games 1, 2, and 3. I hope that people will be open-minded enough to give it a shot and like see it for what it is, because honestly, I kind of feel alone in feeling this way. I know some of my other friends do want this as well, but I kind of want another game like X. I want another game with a huge, massive open world with a lot of things to do. And I want a game with like really good, in-depth, complex, and layered gameplay and combat. That's what X does so well. And some people are just kind of, they've kind of missed out on that. Or they just don't enjoy it, or they don't like it, or it's a little too different from the other Xenoblade games. I would love something that's still open world focused and maybe doesn't have as much of a direct focus on the story, something like what X does. I would be really open for them to doing something like that, honestly. I just feel a little tired hearing the same discourse about this game over and over and over again. And I've heard it all during the entirety of my like time as a Xenoblade fan. Even before I played X, people were telling me, oh, remember, it's not as story focused. Oh, there's a lot of things you have to keep track of. Oh, remember this, remember that. And it would all like pile up as like a pile of like worries and negativity. But then when I played the game, I loved it. I saw it for what it was. I saw it as them trying something new, and I went in with an open mind and I really liked it. And I was hoping that would be the same with Definitive Edition. I was hoping people would come into this with a little more of an open mind, and I'm not saying that they didn't, or that people are not like giving this game a like honest shot or whatever. No, I'm not saying that, but I just find it a little exhausting to have to hear a lot of that stuff again and again, that the story is bad, the gameplay is too complicated, etc., etc. And people wishing it's something it isn't. That's the biggest thing about this. I always feel like Xenoblade X is put at such a high pedestal because it's not Xenoblade 1, 2, and 3. It's not as story focused, it's not as approachable, this, that, and the other. And to me, I look at that and I'm like, does that make it a bad game? And I hear people say that. It's not like the number games, it's not like 1, it's not like 2, it's not like 3, it's not like the DLCs, it's not like any of the Klaus saga, as people say. As a Klaus saga lover, absolute like super fan, you guys know, I hear this and it kind of makes me a little sad, because I almost truly feel alone when I personally say that I see parallels to the numbered games. And to me, this still feels like a tried and true Xeno game, a tried and true Xenoblade game, and like a very like central Tetsuya Takahashi experience. Like having played Gears, having played the numbered games, having played X, it feels like it's the same DNA. Like, of course, it's not exactly the same. Again, there's clear differences, but the differences don't make it something bad, and don't make it something like so completely out of the ordinary from what makes Xenoblade. And not only that, I also feel like this might be the Xenoblade game where I discuss lore the most with my friends. It's probably X and 3. Of course, 2 has many lore things, but like I have a friend, I've mentioned him a lot on the channel, who's like favorite video game of all time is Xenoblade X. Sometimes when we hang out and we just talk about Xenoblade, the numbered games don't even come up in our conversations. We just talk about X, we just talk about X lore. That's it. That's how like rich X is with its lore. And then it makes me sad when people are like, oh, X's story is like, there's nothing in the story, there's nothing in the game. And I'm like, the lore is on par, if not like more expansive than something like 2 and 3. And that's just my personal opinion. Like I said many times in this video, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but that's just how I feel. Sure, the story isn't the best. It's in many ways it's a haphazard, fragmented mess. And it is something glued together after many like crazy rewrites and drafts that Takahashi like kind of fixed together. But it's not like Xenoblade X's story is just outright terrible, I think. Of course, it's nothing like 1, 2, and 3, but I think to write it off as bad and wish for it to be something that it's trying not to be is somewhat disingenuous. And I know that XDE, this game that we got right now in 2025, it's sort of like an in-between stopgap between what we got with Future Redeemed and what we're going to get in the future with like Xenoblade 4 or whatever is coming next. I don't want to talk about spoilers in this video because that's not what this is about. I know some viewers of the channel, some of my friends, some mutuals haven't even gotten to the epilogue yet, so I don't want to get into detail on that, but I would just say I've looked into what a lot of the detractors and people who didn't like it have to say about it, and I can sympathize in some ways, but I also sort of feel like it might be a little overblown. I can totally sympathize in some way, but I also sort of think we need to look at the bigger picture as well. It wasn't executed as perfectly as it could be. It does feel jarringly different from the rest of the story, obviously, but I don't think the execution was that truly terrible or that truly bad, considering what they had to work with and what they could do with such a limited time. To me, many questions were answered, and many threads were set up for the future of the series. And I just kind of hope many of us are ready for the future of the series with what all has been set up with this game and with Chapter 13. Again, I'm not going to go into detail, but I hope many of us are ready and accepting and understanding of what will come in the future. I feel a little bad about a lot of the negative epilogue discourse because I feel like it soured a lot of the discussion around the game as well. And why am I even like making this video? Why do I even care about any of this? Why am I sitting in front of my mic talking about any of this stuff that doesn't even make sense? I'm just like complaining. Well, I just kind of wanted to get this all off my chest. I don't want to change anyone's opinions on the game. And like, if you didn't enjoy X, if you didn't enjoy it as much as the Klaus games, that's totally fine. Your opinion is valid. That's totally okay. And if you didn't enjoy the epilogue, that's also totally valid. That's fine. I just wanted to come out here and talk about how I am interpreting a lot of this stuff. And another thing relating back to people comparing this to the Klaus games, I really don't want Xeno or Xenoblade or whatever like continues in the future. I don't want it to be siloed exclusively to the numbered games. The numbered games are the numbered games. We all love them. They're like some of our favorite games of all time. But even Takahashi said that whatever's coming in the future is going to be different. And people experiencing something different with X and it just not vibing with them. Again, opinions are opinions, that's fine, but I wonder what we'll feel about what's coming in the future. I don't want us to judge anything in the future based off of expectations and attachment that we feel so strongly towards those 3 amazing games that we played on the Switch. I want Monolith Soft to try new things, and I also want them to tap into their older back catalog of inspiration like they did X. I want them to tap more into X, like I said. I want them to go open world again. I want them to have a lot more complex systems. I want them to tap into Gears. I want them to go way more dark, psychological, really, like, I want them to get a little, like, crazy and messed up with their stories as well. And Saga as well, like, they're getting a lot of abstract elements from Saga into X, into 3, into the future of the series, as we can tell from what we played with 3 and Future Redeemed. I want a lot of that stuff. I don't want us to be tied down to what the numbered games have set up in terms of gameplay and story and characters and emotions and writing and all that. I want them to get a little creative, and I hope that they're judged fairly for it as well. I want to see lore-heavy stories like X in the future, but I also want to see the character-driven stories like I love so much in the numbered games. To round all this up, to round this whole, like, yapping session up, I guess, I just wish we gave this game an honest shot. I wish we gave Xenoblade X an honest shot, instead of looking at it through the lens of the other games. I even had that issue when I played it for the first time. I was like, oh, this is not like Xenoblade 1 and 2, like, oh, it's so different, it's so weird. But then I understood what it's trying to do. I really took the time to sit down and understand the systems, understand what the story is trying to tell, do some of the affinity missions, and kind of like relate to some of the characters and see what is different from the other games. Not only what is different and like accept and enjoy and appreciate what is different, but tie in the parallels. Like I said before, I feel like I'm alone when I say that, like, I see parallels to some character writing, some themes, some story things here and there. I'll get into that a little more in detail on this long scripted Xenoblade X video I have coming way later, but like that's what I had to say. I know this whole series, Xenoblade, is very niche. It won't ever hit the highs of any other popular RPG series, but I was just hoping that X would see the success that it deserved this time around, and it's not all doom and gloom. I'm sure X wasn't a financial failure. I'm sure it did well, I'm sure it succeeded, but I hope it gets its flowers. I hope it gets its love from the Switch fan base and from the fans of the numbered games, and especially the newer Xenoblade Chronicles fans. I just wanted to come out and rant about that, I guess. This is not your usual Niche Quick Pops video, but I've just been seeing a lot of weird discourse about the game. Let me know what you think about all this in the comments below. If you agree, if you disagree, if you don't agree, let me know respectfully in the comments below. It's okay if you dislike the video, but likes are also appreciated. Remember, give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe for more content like this. This is Nishquick signing off. Have a great day. Go play some great games today, like Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition. It deserves the love. It really, truly does. I'll see you guys in the next one later. Hey guys, this is Nishquick. Thank you so much for watching that video. And if you enjoyed it, check out these 2 videos on the left, and maybe subscribe if you haven't on your way out. And big shout out to all my channel members whose names you can see on the screen right now. I'll see you guys in the next video. Later.